right, this is the Morning Cafe, today being the 4th of September 2025, 247 days left into the year and 247 days into the year.
147, yes.
118 days left, which is still a lot more time for you to do the stuff you wish to do. Karibu sana, my name is Fred Indimule.
My name is Anne Odida. Thank you so much for choosing us kama kawaida. Tuangalie magazeti.
Today they don't seem to agree on anything, but tuende to Selfish Union. It's a Standard looking at 1 year later of the broad-based arrangement.
People Daily, State House, no longer sacred grounds.
All right. Daily Nation, Matters Education puzzle of 123,000 missing grade 9 students.
Taifa Leo, vyama vya mlo.
Umeona hata moja tumerudia mahali. And the Star, state spends 17.2 million shillings daily on tea and mandazi.
Wow. Wow. Finally, Business Daily, retail investors pile 1.4 trillion shillings into bonds and unit trust funds.
Okay, so we'll be looking at what to discuss with these four gentlemen: Wilson Sosion, Dr. Peter Mbaye, Fwamba NC Fwamba, and Robert Alai. He'll be telling us more about that planned, or do we call it a botched impeachment plot?
That one. Na nimemwona kwa caricature.
Nendo alikuwa naimbisha hapo nini no Sakaja. No Sakaja. Yana amekasirika sana. All right. Later on,
I'll be hosting Daniel Mbugua, Chairman Tour Operators Society of Kenya, and Charles Gaku, CEO Air Travel and Related Studies Center, on wildlife conservation and local tourism growth in the country.
That coming your way at 8 a.m. Before we come back and take a look at other issues, let's cross our borders and take a look at what's happening in Uganda this morning. And the Daily Monitor talks of URA starting EFRIS on business properties. This is a tax hammer. It's a new system they're trying to put up there as well. Starting this financial year, landlords will be required to interact with tenants only through EFRIS, as the tax body seeks to raise at least 400 billion Ugandan shillings from taxes on business premises. So the tax rate applicable to an individual for rental income is 12% if you collect income from the rent in excess of 2.82 million shillings. Unajua watu wakisikia unalipa rent 2.82 million shillings, karibu faint, lakini it's Ugandan money.
In Kenyan shillings ni 80k.
Maybe to hesabu, maybe in around there. But this, if at all it comes to Kenya, and this, there have been attempts by KRA to tax landlords. Lakini wanakuwa wanakwepa hivi. Wakiekewa hii, at now for you as a tenant to interact with your landlord has to be through a tax system.
That would be nice.
So kila landlord analipa tax. Ile wanacharge watu huku on the top.
That would be very nice.
Walipe tax hata waache hiyo maneno. Lakini wataongeza tu hiyo tax.
Wataongeza rent.
Rent, wataongeza tu hiyo rent kwako. Other stories given prominence here. There's a man whose job was to trail Dr. Besigye. Now he's found dead. Kazi yake ilikuwa tu kutrail Besigye.
Wow.
Hapa kuna photo montage of the Superintendent of Police, Musa Walugembe, whose image has been circled here. During a scuffle with Dr. Kiza Besigye's entourage at Mulago roundabout in 2011. And his most recent look here. Walugembe was found dead from an unknown cause in his bedroom. In Naijani Nkumbi, Makinde Division, Kampala District. Move on, other stories. The real contenders now show up for 2026 nomination. Now this is coverage of the continued campaigns. Hawajaanza formal campaigns kule, but at least kuna mchakato wa kisiasa. General Saleh tells ambassadors to embrace Musevenomics. All right. Pale, Constitution at 30 are picking to debate on contentious issues. So they've had this constitution since 95.
Inawasaidia kweli. Anyway,
in 95, any constitution they had in 95 was like a constitution in 1963. Hakuna mambo tofauti.
Yeah, mani. Jirani.
All right, because Museveni was still president. That's Daily Monitor.
No
Let's
wonder.
take a look at this other one.
New vision still in Uganda, 2026 battle for districts and cities. The Electoral Commission warns against flouting nomination guidelines. And this story is on page 6 and 7. We see them here. The nominated leaders. Battle for districts and cities. All of them are here on the front page of the New Vision. Kagezi case, Agasirwe and Minaana's 6-speedy trial. Other stories here, new era, China growth lessons for Uganda's investors. 2 arrested over 2.4 billion shillings Kalolo land title fraud. And on the top strip, NUP losers opt for Besigye party. All right, that's a new vision.
Matters election and campaigns getting prominence in this paper in Uganda. We cross over into Tanzania, take a look at the Citizen, and I'm looking for any politics. I'm struggling. It's matters business here. Why latest gold rally is good news for Tanzania. Gold with, okay, there's something small there. We'll come to it. Gold, which traded at $2,625 per troy ounce at the beginning of January, has soared to over $3,300 per troy ounce in June, meaning that Tanzania is poised to boost its foreign exchange earnings through maximizing returns from exports of the precious metal. And you know, Tanzania is one of those countries that is just endowed with a lot of minerals, diamonds, gold, unlike Kenya. Yeah, I want a DRC wanakuanga hapa kwa hapa.
But are they maximizing on them though?
Well, so 80% gold accounts for approximately 80% of the mining sector's contribution to the economy. Other stories here. Samia pledges speedy Tunduma clearance as Mwalimu promises monthly pension for elderly. So these are just some of the promises that the presidential candidates in Tanzania are giving to the electorate as they continue their official campaigns ahead of the elections in October 29.
They called them political comedy yesterday.
Walisema ni vichekesho tu. Mpina, meanwhile, is still chasing his court case. High Court set to hear ACT application. Bado wale wa kukutini, ni ule alikuwa denied ticket ya urais. TCU's directive, a 68,000 enrolled with multiple universities, matters education, getting a mention there on the front page of the Citizen. Let's go to the Mwananchi.
Mwendo wa ahadi, Samia badili upepo Tunduma, akiahidi barabara njia 4, bandari kavu na kituo cha malori, Mwalimu akomaa na pensheni kwa wazee. Salum Mwalimu ni presidential bearer wa Chauma. Vile vile Samia Suluhu wa CCM wanapelekana sako kwa bako. Kidokezo zaidi, polisi yachunguza kesi ya polisi kupora bodaboda. Polisi yachunguza kesi ya polisi kupora bodaboda. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 6. Hatma ya Mpina, Jumatatu serikali haina pingamizi. Wanafunzi 116,596 kuanza safari vyuo vikuu, na wakati awamu ya kwanza ya udahili wa shahada ya kwanza ikifungwa hapo jana, jumla ya waombaji 116,000 wamedahiliwa katika taasisi 88 za elimu kule Tanzania. On the top strip, waliokuwa watumishi Kigamboni kizimbani, na aliyekuwa mkuu wa idara ya fedha na mhasibu wa manispaa ya Kigamboni Jonathan Manguli na miaka 38 na wenzake 12 wakiwemo wafanyabiashara wamefikishwa mahakamani. Gazeti la Mwananchi.
All right. Tutarejelea kuangazia magazeti hapa nyumbani kwa muda usiokuwa mrefu, lakini kwa sasa tuangalie hali ya anga. Kumekuwa na kijijoto katika sehemu nyingi hapa nchini, hata tukiangazia kule maeneo ya pwani, tukianza na Kilifi 23 degrees Celsius, zinaitwa nyusi za Celsius. Feels like 26. They say it's a partly cloudy day, highs of 28 degrees, a lot of sun in in Kilifi, meaning that this is the best time to go for holiday at the coast. Yeah, and they're just getting into the high season. Highs of 28 degrees, proper holiday weather in Kilifi. Mount Kenya region, Meru.
14 degrees in Meru this morning, feels like 13. It's a partly cloudy day according to what we're seeing here. Actually, it will be a very sunny day. Highs of 24 degrees, precipitation in Meru today, 0.2 millimeters.
Kidogo sana. Areas around Lake Victoria region are experiencing similar trends. 19 degrees Celsius in Siaya. It feels like 25, and you can see that disparity. 19, but feels like 6 degrees higher. Promises to be a cloudy day as well. Highs of 28 degrees. A bit of precipitation expected in the afternoon starting at midday. 1.7 millimeters, but it's definitely a very warm day in Siaya today. Up north,
26 degrees in Turkana, feels like 27. Clear skies with periodic clouds. Highs of 34 degrees. Hakuna clouds. Clouds wanasema itaanza huko 4 p.m.
Huko jioni, usiku ikija.
Kidogo sana. Highs of 34 degrees, precipitation in Turkana, nothing.
Don't expect anything there.
And it will get hotter even. Right now we're talking about 27 degrees, 34, 37.
37 on Monday. Next week will actually be the hottest for Turkana.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so you can enjoy cool weather at 34 degrees.
Today, just for today.
Areas around Rift Valley, in Nakuru, it's a bit chilly this morning, 15 degrees Celsius, which is fairly warm. And it will get very warm as well. 25 degrees, the highs in Nakuru today. They say clear with periodic clouds, and we do expect some precipitation in Nakuru at 6.1 millimeters. So some rainfall in Nakuru. I think that's the only place tomorrow, some significant rainfall.
In Nairobi, this morning it's 13 degrees, feels like it. Clear skies with periodic clouds. Highs of 25 degrees today in Nairobi. Precipitation here is 0.5 millimeters. Yakune. Yata itoshi kutoa vumbi. Very little. Yes.
And this will sustain into the weekend, 26 degrees, the highs on Saturday and Sunday. So definitely a warming up of the weather across the country. Tuangalie kama hiyo weather, kama kijijoto huwa kina affects traffic. In Nairobi, nangoje fanya ile kitu. Yes, roads are building up slowly, and that stretch, okay, Thika Road has dots of yellow here and there, but nothing to worry about so far. There's a stretch of yellow just before you get to the Allsops area. Further kule juu, mahali kuna kwanga na shida ni kama hakuna, all the way from Ruiru. Once you get to the KCA University, it's okay, but once you get to that Utalii Drift, kuna slow down kidogo as you get to the Pangani interchange. Nothing out of the ordinary there, meaning it's just building up as it should this morning. Areas around Outer Ring Road, it's building up a bit more today, especially that stretch at Pipeline heading towards Donholm, and areas around Feather and Tasia, meaning there's higher traffic than usual. Jogoo Road, that stretch, Bakadara, nothing out of the ordinary. Landis Road is back to normal. Yes, it's green all the way as you get into town. Haile Selassie Avenue exhibiting very normal traffic this morning around Railways bus station and areas around Marikiti. So nothing out of the ordinary today, hakuna complaints. Mombasa Road all the way from Syokimau is looking green, while wanaenda airport wanaweza fika haraka. Southern Bypass, Langata Road, Raila Odinga Highway, Ngong Road and Wayakiwe green this morning at exactly
15 minutes.
15 minutes past the hour. So leo ni Thursday, munaweza enda kazini salama.
All right, let's have the quote of the day.
When you're truly passionate about your work, it no longer feels like a chore. It transforms into something that motivates and pushes you towards excellence and persistence.
Let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. All right, and we start off with the Standard this morning. A selfish union is a headline. Broad-based at one. They're just looking at the first year anniversary of the broad-based arrangement. They say, see, hear, speak no evil. In the name of broad-based government, President William Ruto and Raila Odinga sealed a pact that blurred the opposition into irrelevance. What was meant to be a counterweight to executive fiat has morphed into an alliance that silences dissent and shields scandal. Raila, once a symbol of accountability, now plays cheerleader to President Ruto's excesses in a deal that smacks of opportunism. Kenyans have been left with a government without restraint 1 year later. The story is on page 6, and we have a picture of the two gentlemen in that firm handshake. Na ni kama tu ile handshake ya Raila Odinga, na unajua ilitumika sana. Na inatumika mara mingi sana. Raila Odinga akipea handshake Mwai Kibaki, akipea handshake Uhuru Kenyatta, akipea handshake.
Lazima akumbushwe.
Yeye mkono yake ni kama itapigwa picha yekwe mahali. So they quote the Wiper Party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, says there is something fundamentally wrong with the state of Kenya under the existing regime. Scandal after scandal and attempts to sell off Kenya's crucial infrastructure on the cheap are the modus operandi of this disgraced regime. Let's go to page 6. Tuone some of the things want to mention. I say that with Raila in his pocket, Ruto has a field day doing what he wants. And they even quote the fact that now the president is using the ODM party leader to save the Nairobi governor. Sasa kila kitu tunaelewana. Go save this guy of mine. Yeah, na anafanya hivyo. Adani deal kidogo kidogo, Raila Odinga was the biggest supporter after everyone had complained about the same.
He's still supporting that contract.
Yeah, he's still supporting the same. Yes, so these are some of the issues covered on page 6 of this paper. I don't want to give you all the juice. Go read it for yourself. They say with Raila in his bucket, Ruto has a field day doing what he wants. Do you agree with that? In the name of broad-based arrangement. So many stories huku ndani, especially in Nairobi. City residents sound alarm as muggers terrorize the streets. Now, this is something that has been growing, and I've seen so many updates on social media. People talking about the level of crime and muggings, especially in the city center. Kimathi Street is one of those roads that they say. Na unajua hapo ni karibu sana na Central Police Station.
Kimathi Street is actually uptown, part of uptown. So imagine downtown.
Yeah. Actually, it's safer downtown, I guess.
Kimathi Street ni wadosi.
Alafu obvious sasa hapo ndio mnakuja kumagiwa wadosi kama nyinyi. So that story finally makes it to the paper. Nasikia jana UON medical students walikuwa wameshut down town wakicomplain kuhusu exams. Medical students at the University of Nairobi have threatened to shut down operations across all campuses until their withheld examination results are released. These are just some of the stories. On the back page, of course, they talk about preparations by Harambee Stars for their match with Gambia. And the title on the back page says, Why Gambia is wary of Kenya ahead of Kasarani showdown. The game will be happening on Friday at 4 p.m. Kenya versus Gambia.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Unajua kwa hiyo group F standings, Ivory Coast iko already na 16 points. Gabon 15. Burundi 10. Then comes Kenya with 6 points. Gambia, alafu Seychelles at 0 points. So yes, tuone kama kuna kitu tunaweza fanya hapo. That's the standard this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the People Daily. State House, no longer sacred grounds. The house on the hill, once shrouded in secrecy, now hosts every Tom, Dick and Harry in Ruto's quest to garner support. Amesema huku ukiwa na zile watu wakitaka kupewa pikipiki. State House ndio.
You know, I've been to State House
place.
on 1 or 2 occasions, and the one thing they tell you is put your phone away kwanza. At the gate huko kwanza umeko huko nje kwa ile area ya helicopter huko ni kama unataka kurushwa nje. Simu huwezi pita nayo hapo. It's a security installation. You cannot take out your phone and take a photo within State House. But now, with this kind of crowd, everyone was taking videos, creating content on the lawns of State House with a motorbike.
Wamesema ndio employer wa president. Lazima waende waangalie mambo yao inaendeleaje. And
funny dancing there next to the president. Did you see that?
Yes.
There's some lady who was dancing funny, making even the president uncomfortable. That is the new reality of State House.
State House no longer sacred grounds. This story has been covered extensively on pages 4 and 5 of the People Daily. On the top strip, unfulfilled promises expose Mudavadi and Wetangula, the two Western brothers. That story is on page 6. And why Ruto and Raila move on Sakaja is a bad president for devolution. They're meddling.
Oh, yes.
City politics.
If they were to intervene in every attempt at impeachment, what would it mean for us? Kimbia huko, Isiolo, waende Kericho, waende wapi? Seme don't impeach. Huyu ni wetu. All right, People Daily. Daily Nation goes with matters education, puzzle of 123,000 missing grade 9 students. So hear this. Thousands of learners who sat the grade 6 exam 3 years ago will not participate in next month's assessment to determine senior school admission. This is a very crucial exam. They call it the KJSER. Questions are now being asked, what happened to the group? There are systems in government. There was a NEMIS and now I think CHEMIS, which records all the learners. Yeah. So the ones who did the exam in grade 6, what happened to them? Hawakuingia JSS, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. Huge questions asked there. So transition variances. In 2025, grade 6, there were 1.253 million. Now in grade 9, there is 1.13 million. What happened to the 122,000, which is about 10%? Yeah. But it happens. It happens as well. When the KCPE class of 2021 sat for that exam, there were 1.2 million. Those who are sitting for the 2025 KCSE this year, it's 996,000.
A drop.
a drop of 217 million, which was 17,000, which is worse at 18%. At least now it's improved. Yeah. So they quote there Silas Obuhatsa, National Parents Association chairperson, saying this is a huge and worrying number. Are these children at home with their parents? Have they dropped out? They need answers. Why is nobody explaining such a huge gap? Historia County kwa county operations stall over tenders fight with state. This is a push and pull over EGP, e-procurement system that has delayed because of the slow uptake. Treasury says, well, alafu najua counties have to still deal, and suppliers are trying to update their details on the e-system. It's not working. So hata tissue paper hakuna kwa county. Magari mingi ya county hata wajarenew insurance. Wanatembea kwa migusio magurudumu. Why many parties could be barred from next polls, that's a story on page 7. Many of them have not complied with the registrar of political parties. And MCAs lose court battle for more hefty allowances. And I'm telling you, one of those people who's been fighting for this is the MC for Kileleshwa, Robert Alai. He'll be in studio today. Lakini akona disappointment mingi leo. Mara impeachment ilikwama, mara allowances imepotea. Alai, I do not want to be you today. That's the Daily Nation. Let's take a look at the back page of this paper. Kenya hopes to end 24-year wait for men's at 10,000 meters, and this is about the World Under-20 cross-country championships. Yes. Yesterday, I saw the flagging off of the team to the Tokyo tournament at State House. Wamesahau mpira for now, wameenda athletics. That's the Daily Nation.
Taifa Leo, vyama vya mlo, mhasibu mkuu asema vingi vijazingatia sheria, wachanganuzi wasema vilibuniwa ili kunufaisha waanzilishi. Idadi kubwa ya vyama 91 vya siasa vilivyosajiliwa nchini vinakabiliwa na hatari ya kufungiwa kushiriki katika uchaguzi mdogo wa Novemba tarehe 27 na hata chaguzi zijazo kwa kushindwa kutimiza masharti ya sheria ya vyama vya siasa vya mwaka wa 2011. Kulingana na mkaguzi mkuu Nancy Gathungu, anasema kwamba ingawa vyama vilitoa anwani za makao makuu na afisi za kaunti kabla ya kusajiliwa, idadi kubwa ya vyama hivyo havikuwa na afisi katika zaidi ya nusu ya kaunti. Mkaguzi amelaumu ofisi ya msajili wa vyama vya siasa, hiyo ni ORPP, ambaye msajili wake hadi hivi majuzi alikuwa Andy Ritu, kwa kushindwa kuhakikisha vyama vya siasa vilivyosajiliwa vinatii sheria. Kwa
sasa wewe ni commissioner wa IEBC. Sasa mkimlaumu ashapata kazi nyingine na akamove on. Shauri zenu.
Vyama vinavyozingatia sheria ni UDA na chungwa peke yake, ODM.
Na wako pamoja kwa broad based. Kwa hivyo ni one party state, wana move on. Wengine wote wako nje.
Vidokezo zaidi, changamoto kuzima vileo Mlima Kenya. Biashara hiyo ni kubwa kiasi cha kuamua mkondo wa siasa na dini na uchumi mlimani. Kingi na Wetangula waingilia zogo Taveta. Masuala ya international matters hapa, wanasema Putin na Kim. Yoni? Kim Ji.
Kim ni tofauti. Ji ni yule wa China. Kim ni yule wa Korea.
Kim Ji. Okay, wamekutana Beijing jijini kule. On the top strip, hospitali yakataa kutibu mahabusu. This story was making headlines last week. So anasema kwamba kituo cha sheria kotini baada ya Mbagathi Hospital kusitisha huduma za matibabu kwa mahabusu kutokana na bili ya matibabu ambayo haijalipwa. Masuala ya spoti pale ni gozi la twanga pepeta leo. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 20 gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Itabidi tuongeze kasi kiasi. Kuna gazeti la Star na naona muda unatupa kisogo. State spends 17.2 million shillings daily on tea and mandazi. We have the physical paper here with us. Some expenditure flies in the face of austerity measures. So hakuna pesa za capitation, lakini ya mandazi ikose.
Whatever you do,
watu wakae njaa. Watu wakose mandazi alafu tafanya kazi namna gani? Yes, sema the National Assembly recorded the highest expenditure on domestic travel, recording 4.68 billion, which is attributed to the nature of work by the members of parliament. You can read more on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Other stories is what is happening in Mandera pale, wanasema leaders raise alarm as Jubaland forces invade Mandera. Wanasema hawa majeshi sasa wa Jubaland, wale militia wenye wame cross over into Kenya. They've occupied a number of schools, forcing schools to stop whatever they're doing and even move out of that area because wamekuja huku ndio, lakini wanafuatwa bado, wanafukuzwa na wale majeshi wa Somali.
Lakini serikali imesema hawako.
Amesema sisi we did not invite them, so wamekuja huku kama refugees too, so we can't chase them away. Lakini shida ni they are fighting on our soil. That raises a concern. Haya, Governor Sakaja ako hapa pia. Disquiet as city MCs protest Ruto and Raila deal on Sakaja, lakini unauliza hata wao wali give up their rights namna gani? This is a Stars, a fresh, independent, different. You can grab a copy of this paper ukiona shilingi 60.
Finally, Business Daily retail investors pile 1.4 trillion shillings into bonds, unit and unit trust funds. This story is on page 2, and it says small traders pour around 596 billion shillings in unit trust, and hustler bonds holding double to 844 billion. And banks face CBK daily fines over new loan pricing. Isuzu East Africa marks 50th anniversary on the ticker. Hiring by companies grows at the fastest pace in 15 months. Micro lenders sell off loans to banks as defaults increase. Finally, Kenya's vegetable export hit by tough EU market rules. That's the Business Daily this morning.
All right. Just a reminder of the gentleman who will be in studio to discuss these headlines. Wilson Sosion, who's a former MP and also a teacher by profession. He was a Secretary General of the National Union of Teachers a few years back. Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs of the DCP, will be here with us, alongside Fwamba NC Fwamba, who's a governance analyst, and Robert Alai, MCA Kilelesho, who's been on the headlines this week. Atakuja hapa tuambie.
Later on, we'll be talking matters wildlife conservation and local tourism growth in the country with Daniel Mbugua and Charles Gaku.
All right, tukimalizia tuangalie wachoraji wanasema nini kwenye karakacha. Watu waambie, unajua sometimes hizi headlines zinatuchenga kidogo. Lakini wachoraji wanakuanga accurate. Ni nini kikubwa watu wanazungumzia? People Daily. Kuna jamaa ameruka hapa mtego wa panya. Another cat with 9 lives. Anakaa kama Sakaja. Ukiangalia hapa kuna dimple. Na ameandika Sakaja. Kwa hivyo ni yeye escape your ouster, ameruka that mouse trap. That's the People Daily.
There's a standard handshake between ODM. Kuna orange pale na kuna yellow. Lakini unasema shake hands. Na yule anawaambia shake hands, amebebwa hapo kwa mikono miwili. Nasema City Hall. Hall ile ya shimo.
Na mbona wana insist kuchora huyu jamaa na hiyo degree kwa kichwa, hiyo kofia degree?
You must be reminded that ako na degree.
Wanachoma, unajua ni uchokozi because unajua ile controversy iko pale. Lakini ukiona dimple unajua nani. Hii handshake sasa ndio inatumika kufanya nini? It's still shaking. Shaky hands as they save the governor of Nairobi. Something different here on the Daily Nation. We have the former this is actually the CS of Interior. Akiuliza what foreign forces. Jubaland troops and their boots are on Kenyan territory, causing havoc in Mandera. The governor has said it, residents are saying it, but kuna denial, kuna shanga, okay, sasa tuseme nini, tuamini nani? Lakini according to residents wanasema watu wamekuja wamechukua mashule yetu, risasi zina fly hapa town, tufanye nini? Kule Mandera.
Finally, this is the Star. MCS wa Nairobi wameambiwa sit down. Kaini chini.
The story is clear. And you can see at your MCS, and finally, the MCA for Kilelesho finally found himself on a cartoon. Robert Alai, congratulations. Ukiona umechorwa kwa cartoon, umefika.
All right, na kupali the Nairobi governor ameshikwa pale.
Anawachekelea hapo, anaambia sit down. Yeye amekuwa saved hapa.
You thought. All right, these are the stories making headlines today, and the newspapers and the conversations we'll be having today as well on the show. But meanwhile, do interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. 22047 is our SMS line on X, TV47 Digital. My handle on X is at @Ann_Dida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe.
My handle is at Fred Indimuli. See you after the break.
world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upward, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
On a day, President William Ruto chaired a meeting of UDA MCAs at State House, Nairobi, to resolve the standoff between them and Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. A section of ODM Nairobi MPs, led by their chairman George Aladwa, while welcoming the lull at City Hall, warned Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja not to take the impeachment reprieve for granted and get down to work to address the concerns raised by MCAs.
Na kwa Governor Sakaja, sasa mpira iko kwako, ni wewe sasa ujumuike, uweze kubadilika, tuone kwamba yale mambo yamesemwa, malalamisho yale yaliwekwa jana yameweza kuhudumiwa, na MCAs pia warudi katika mitaa wafanye kazi. Hataki sasa watu wa Mangamange town.
Let us pray that what the President and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga did gives him a lifeline, but that lifeline should not be taken for granted. He could end up back in ICU, back in HDU. It's time for him to focus on actually uniting the leadership of Nairobi to deliver services to the citizens of Nairobi.
The MPs welcoming the decision by MCAs to drop the impeachment motion, saying the move will bring stability and allow service delivery to Nairobians.
We, the members of Parliament from Nairobi City County, stand in solidarity with our Governor Sakaja Johnson during this simmering period of turbulence. While we pray and hope that dialogue is given a chance, we want to thank our County Assembly members and to appreciate that they've agreed to do dialogue.
To the MCAs, hold your horses for now. Let's talk more. Let's embrace each other. Let's give the governor a chance to deliver and work with you much more closer than maybe it has been purported that he has neglected you.
MCAs have accused Sakaja of being aloof, inaccessible, and communicating to them through proxies. This, coupled by unresolved issues on road projects, bursaries, and the Ward Development Fund, issues which forced President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga to give Sakaja 2 months to address the grievances.
Remember when Sonko was impeached, we had a lot of problems within Nairobi, and as the leaders of Nairobi, we want service delivery. Service delivery can only come in an environment where we have peace. And this peace comes when the leadership work together.
Despite being elected on a UDA ticket, Governor Sakaja has often relied on the support of ODM's numerical strength to push his first-term agenda in the county assembly. Apul Kamau, TV47.
It is a story that simply refuses to go away. That's what we may now call a botched attempt at impeachment against the governor of Nairobi. Looking at Article 6 of Devolution of the Constitution, talking about devolution access to services, basically talking about the separation and how counties should operate vis-a-vis the national government. The big question that has been asked is this undue influence on the workings of county assemblies, the fact that the national leaders, President William Ruto and the ODM party leader Raila Odinga, intervened and directed MCAs on how to carry out their work at the county assembly level. And if this was to happen in any other county, what would it mean for devolution? Yes, this is indeed Morning Cafe. You're watching on TV47. My name is Fred Ndumuli. Let me introduce my panelists this morning. Robert Alai, the person to answer all these questions. MCA Kilelesho Award, karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Fred.
Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who has served as SG for KNUT and also as a member of the National Assembly. Karibu sana, Bwana Sosion.
Asante sana, Fred.
This morning, we're privileged to be joined by governance analyst Fwamba NC Fwamba. Karibu sana.
Good morning, viewers.
And Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP.
Good morning.
Bwana Alai, I've been looking at your tweets.
Yes.
And they give different kinds of feedback from what happened. On one tweet, you're talking about respecting your elders. But should the workings of the county assemblies be about that, respecting elders? There's a role that the county assemblies should play.
Yes.
Across the country.
Yes.
This, what happened in the last few days, and I'm told there will be another meeting at State House today. Should we see that as undue influence on the workings of county assemblies?
Thank you so much, Fred, for inviting me here. I don't think that is undue influence on the workings of the MCAs, but I think that it's a very consultative process we are going through with our political leaders. You remember that we have 6 elective positions in this country, and MCAs being the one which represent down at the grassroots is the smallest electoral unit, which is the ward. And so it will be very unfortunate if we don't listen to somebody like the president, who has the outlook, who has a lot of information on what is happening in the country. You know, Nairobi, economically, it's bigger and it's huge, that whatever we do in Nairobi might affect the stability of the country. So I don't think that it is undue influence on the workings of the MCAs. But I think because also the agreement, I think they even went further, because the principals were agreeing. In fact, Honorable Raila Odinga said that we give him 30 days. The president said we give him 60 days. And they signed an MOU yesterday as Kenya Kwanza, last night, on what should be done and what should be done. And some of the things which should be done is that the governor must leave Shakahola, what we call Shakahola, which is Riverside office, the private offices. You know, if you go to that place, he can refuse you entry, he can refuse you service, because he said that's a private office. That's not your...
He does not sit at City Hall.
He does not sit at City Hall. He even takes 4 months not coming at City Hall. He doesn't come there, and they are associates. You know, the MCAs have been complaining that their phones are not being picked by the people appointed by Governor Sakaja, like the Chief of Staff, David Njoroge, and the liaison officer, who is Osman Khalif. And I myself decided to block the two individuals, and I said that I will only communicate with the governor. So I told the governor that he has to sack the two, because we don't know where the two came from. They are his friends, they are his associates. They are not permanent employees of the county. So they cannot claim that we have to work with them. He can discard them whenever he wants. If he doesn't want them to go, it means that the Governor Sakaja is the problem. And so within 30 days, there are things he has to resolve. And if he doesn't resolve all these things, he has to appoint a substantive county secretary. The governor has never had a substantive county secretary for the period he has been in government. We've had the acting CS Musumba, we've had the acting CS Analo, and now we have the acting CS Akumali. Those things have to be resolved. And he has to ensure that some of the projects he's doing, like the PPPs he's getting into, the assembly has to be involved.
Mm-hmm. And listening to you and so many other MCAs, and they're quoted there in the papers, there's a lot of dissatisfaction, even with this move to halt the impeachment process.
You know, previously the assembly was a very violent place, and was not some place where you could argue and you could share ideas. You know, there's a lot of push and pulls, cutting deals. We sat as the third assembly in the devolution government, and we say that we are not going to go that way. We are going to listen to each other. 3 times we have proposed for the impeachment of Governor Sakaja, and we have not gotten to the level of meeting the principles. This is the first time we are meeting the principles. But at the assembly level, the governor has met us and said that, please, we are going to change this, we are going to, and it has never changed. Nothing has changed, no action has been taken as promised. And we believe that the best thing now, even today, if you ask us, because even the president was very categorical that don't stop collecting signatures. I've seen the charges, I've seen the problems. Don't stop collecting signatures. Collect your signatures, we give him 60 days. If he's not going to behave within the 60 days, there's nothing which is going to stop you from telling him to go.
Mwalimu Sosion, this is the first time we're seeing the president intervening at the county assembly level in a case of such magnitude. Mostly it's allowed to go to the Senate if at all successful, and then probably from there they can discuss at the party level. Why do you think the president felt the need to intervene at such a level? Why not allow the impeachment motion at least to get to the Senate?
You know, Nairobi is a critical city, is a critical destination, is a major global hub. And 60% of the GDP of this country resides in Nairobi. So disrupting the operations of the city of Nairobi will be very painful to the people of Nairobi. And that is why I think it became inevitable for the president to engage in consultations and dialogue within the party framework. If you look at it, it's being done within the party framework from what Honorable Allies is talking about. You've seen the ODM-affiliated MCAs consulting with their party leader, UDA-affiliated MCAs consulting with their party leader. Yes, they can consult at State House.
We didn't go to State House, by the way.
I'm talking about the MCAs.
UDA.
Yeah, because the party leader of UDA resides at State House. That's a fact. And dialogue in terms of addressing issues, but not barring the challenges. because you can't wish away the MCS, because they are representatives of the people, and their job is to oversight the governor at the county. And from the details, little details that we are getting, is that the concerns of the MCAs have not been swept under the carpet. They've actually been addressed by the party leaders, and timelines given for that to change. And for me, I think Nairobi should be an extraordinary county. In terms of management, top-notch management. It should be the best destination in the world. It has that opportunity. And if that is what informs the action of the MCS, so that Nairobi can be the best city, so be it. The governor should rise to the occasion.
Okay.
And know that this is a city that you only need as a governor to sleep for 1 or 2 hours. The rest of the days, make the city clean, yes, make the city habitable, make the city work, and make the city the best in the world.
Wanafamba, from a governance perspective, if at all we see Nairobi as a special unit, and that it should not be subject to the same rules in as far as oversight is concerned, that the other devolved units go through basically the county assembly oversight role, then should we have Nairobi as a devolved unit? Should we have Nairobi as part of the counties?
Fred, first of all, let me start by saying that the president has been very clear about the fight against corruption and has been supporting devolution right from the onset than any other of his predecessors. And he has allowed oversight processes in other counties to go on. The MCAs trying impeachments or dealing with the weaknesses in governance by governors has been allowed to go on. Other impeachments have gone on. But as my colleagues have stated, Nairobi is very special because it is like the foundation of the country. If it becomes shaky, then the whole country is affected. In other countries, capital cities are allowed to exist on their own without necessarily being categorized as counties or as states, like in the US or even in the UK. So I think those are issues that have been discussed before, but I do not think that we are there yet. I think we just needed to work together. Leaderships need to work together in a collaborative manner. Like there are very legit issues that the Honorable Alai has raised, and those concerns are important to be addressed by the governor so that the county moves on, because whatever happens in Nairobi affects the whole country in particular. And I thank the President and the Honorable Raila Odinga for intervening on this matter so that there's that kind of stability. And for the governor, I think if he is given the second chance, he's supposed to act differently. Look at the issues that have been raised by the MCS and also think through his own plans as a leader so that the county is run in a more professional manner. You look at other aspects of leadership. When you see the president intervening on a matter, it means it's very critical. And as he has stated, the president has not told them to back down from their oversight roles. And that is very important.
Okay. Yes. But Dr. Mbaye, many would see this as an affront to devolution. We may look at it that way, or the other way, as I suggest, that Nairobi is such a special unit, and we've seen the problems even before, needing intervention of the national government after the impeachment of Sonko, or even before that with the introduction of the NMS. Where do you think the problem lies here? An affront to devolution, or that Nairobi is too special to be handled the same way as other counties?
There's nothing special with Nairobi. Nairobi is a county government like any other, like all the 47. There's nothing special. And the moment, Fred, we can't adhere to systems and procedures and processes, it should be equal, it should be the same. There's nothing like a special county. There's no law that tells Nairobi is so special. The whole issue here, the governor, unfortunately, is incompetent and has no capacity to run the city. I went through some posts I did in 2023. 2023, that is a year or 2 years before today. And he said that, you know, Sakaja has gone somewhere, he has called MCS, he's incompetent himself. So you can see the informity. He is saying that President looked at the charges and he saw they were serious. He agreed with the charges. But because of politics, that's why he had to come in and foil the impeachment. Because, I can tell you, also, it's another curious thing. Other places, governors are impeached alone. Why they want to impeach, including the deputy governor, I don't know. Whether the deputy governor was also complicit to the same things they were accusing governor of. Now, the other issue was, if they were going to impeach both, the speaker was going to take over for 60 days. There's going to be an election. And of course, the two principals, the Honorable Raila Odinga and President Ruto, knew. We are smelling, we are just waiting for any opportunity to do a by-election in this country so that we show them what we are made of as official opposition. So that is exactly the reason why the two people had to come in, the two leaders, and stop the impeachment. There is no other reason at all. We are waiting. We were just waiting to...
Do you think their lack of confidence in the national houses of parliament, especially the Senate, following the pronouncements by both the President and the Prime Minister, that they did not feel comfortable enough to allow this impeachment to get to the Senate? They had to handle it at this level.
Definitely, I can tell you this. If this impeachment went to Senate, Sakaja was going to be impeached because the charges were there. That's number one. Because sometimes it's good to look at the reality. He has just told us, a man who is not confident enough to face his people at City Hall, whatever is running away from, why can't you go and sort it? Because he must be running away from something. I don't know why people get elected in a seemingly popular way. Immediately they get to office, they discover they have 10 bodyguards. They have discovered the County Government Act provides for 10 advisors, you know, and then it provides for some private offices. They begin running away from the people who actually literally voted for them. The beauty about the seat of the president, Fred, and governor, you cannot run away. You can go hide when you are campaigning. The moment those are executive positions, your character must be seen. So, but let me tell you what people are asking, and I'm happy that he is here. You know, this is very serious, Fred, on devolution. When MCs sing songs, I saw the song, and they corrupted some Christian song, to say how they are going to impeach Sakaja twice. Signature 70. And the line here was updating us very well every day. That today we are at 70, right now we are at 100, they are dancing somewhere. And then you are called and you are told to stop. What does that tell you on your character? Okay. Now, the problem is people think the 5 million they were asking for, they were given. The 5 million, again, the story of corruption. You know, we have two leaders here, so, you know, lecturing MPs about corruption. Then themselves, they do the same corruption because you cannot tell any Nairobian that money didn't change hands.
Even as you respond to that allegation that there was some money exchange, there's also, and it's been quoted widely, about the treatment the MCAs received, especially at the meeting with Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And you've tweeted about it and said that the MP from Makadara, Jubaland,
was very disrespectful.
That who was supposed to be the chairperson of that meeting, he said himself he was a chairperson, that he disrespected the MCAs, that there was coercion, that MCAs were even told they would be denied the party ticket come 2027. Don't you think that at whatever level that is no longer consultation, this is coercion?
No, I think that the intention of the principals were very nice and very appropriate, but I don't think that, you know, some of the leaders, especially the ones who have been very dominant in the National Assembly, are fair to fellow elective leaders, because they assume that just because we are MCAs, we are their juniors. And it's not that so, because we are all directly elected by the people. It is very unfortunate that he decided to tell us that, you know, you'll not get tickets, because we had a life before politics.
So he actually said that?
He actually said that, and you know, I repeat, and I think we even told him off. He apologized yesterday to us, but he told him that he has to apologize in public, because some of these things he said, it is not only disrespectful, but it's also hurting some of the people who are in that assembly. This is the first time they are getting into elective politics. And if that is going to be the experience, it is not going to change their psyche in the national governance. It is going to, you know, whenever they are engaging with their political leaders, they are going to think that they have to bend or kowtow to whatever they are being told. So I don't think it's very fair for the governance of this country, not to the MCAs only, but to the governance, the spirit of collective responsibility that we have to hold each other to account. If we are going to suspend, BAMBA was very apologetic, and he told Governor Sakaja, please work and apologize to these members, because there's nothing here you are disputing. So these people are saying the truth. Please wake up, apologize, tell us how fast you're going to implement this. At our meeting at the Jaramogi Oginga Foundation, he promised to change everything. But at night we are hearing that he was very abrasive and arrogant to the UDA, because I think that he thought that he had secured the majority side. He didn't need the minority side to stop the impeachment. Actually the impeachment had stopped, so he didn't care what happens next. But we still repeat to Governor Sakaja that if he is not going to change, whatever people think that money exchange, and that's an assumption. We can never, whatever claim people are making now against the MCAs, they can choose to make whatever claim, but we can tell them for a fact that we are not settled with whatever has been agreed. We respect our principles greatly, but if nothing is going to change within the 2 months, and we know it's not going to change. The first conversation when we got elected, we held with Governor Sakaja. We told Governor, we sat with him down and we told him that some of the money you're going to use to develop Nairobi is not going to come from even your pockets. Partner with corporates. I told him, the president, where I talked to the blue chips listed, which as a princess in Kileleshwa, in 2022, they made a profit of 231 billion. We approached even 3 of them only. We said, can we work on a modality of reducing the gap between the rich and the poor? Maybe we put a fund under the governor, leadership of governor and the CEOs of these companies. We find a framework. If you go to Upper Hill area, you see that area is very opulent. But in the midst of that opulence, there's a school called Upper Hill High School, which is not, we can say, is not out of the county. But the aesthetics of it has a very poor image on what the county does. If a corporate leader from America comes and visits the Britam Towers, Britam headquarters, or NCBA headquarters, or KCB headquarters, and sit there looking at Upper Hill High School, and they say that, please, let's talk to CEO Russo and the CEO of NCBA and talk to them if they can. These CEOs said, we can work with you and uplift the standard of this school. But the governor is permanently a Shakahola. Okay. It is very painful to realize that we are missing a chance. There's a time that we sat as individuals, few individuals, and we say that, Governor Sakaja, we want to help you. And we believe that your success is our success. And it should not be that we are coercing you all the time, then it comes in the media that, tunataka pesa. And we say that, can we find a way that we are going to work to ensure that we deliver some of these things? He told us that, ninyi fanyeni kazi yenu ya assembly, mimi nitabaki na executive, lakini mkinisukuma sana, and you have a reason to impeach me, I can exit this Kenyan politics for 10 years and still come back younger than you people.
You see the kind of frustration here, and one wonders, because the MCAs are very close to the people. And if at all the MCAs have found it fit to bring up a motion of impeachment against the governor, however special the county may be, should the national leaders really interfere with that? Why not allow this to go to the Senate? Why not allow this to follow the due process of the law?
I don't think the national leaders have stopped the process. They are only engaging. And I feel for the MCAs with the issues that they have. And I think it has reached a time that these issues being raised by the MCAs across the country should be publicly shared and shared properly. Because I believe even impeachment goes through a process of public participation. So it's not actually the MCAs impeaching, it is the people impeaching on very serious grounds of gross violation of the law, the Constitution, and maybe embezzlement of public funds. Fred, let us call a spade a spade. If you are elected to a public office, you cannot create what you call private offices. In ordinary, standard ethical practices, this business of private offices should be just for private business, and if you are a businessman, and I don't think even people in elective position, we should be talking about them doing business, and this is where the conflict of interest bill comes in. We are talking about leadership. Once you are elected to leadership, like I lie here, your business is Kileleshwa Ward 24/7. You don't have any other business. And you cannot go to your private office. You cease being private. You become public property. And there was a reason why City Hall was made the seat of the governor. It is called the seat of the governor. And if it is the seat of the governor and the governor doesn't sit there, then it poses a serious problem. I still believe the avenues that the MCAs are going through with the party leaders, they should be consistent to ensure that what they want done is done. And if it reaches a point where they cannot agree, you see, by the time adults who are elected, who are leaders, conceive an impeachment, it means other avenues of resolving such leadership problems have failed. And you've heard the party leaders have been very candid. The party leaders have not gone against the churches and the concerns of the people. They have not. And them is trying to find a way of resolving. But if not resolved, I don't think the party leaders will stand on the way of the MCAs throughout. And it will not be right.
The feeling is that they may actually stand in the way.
It will not be right, Fred, to intimidate legitimately elected people. I don't think.
Yeah, that has happened. And this is the nature of this process where, yes, they are elected, they're party leaders, yes, but in there, there's coercion. There's a threat of not getting party tickets come 2027, which is not necessarily consultation. This is coercion. To a huge extent, we may blame the party leaders, but also to the MCAs. Do you think they're ceding too much ground?
No, I think our constitution also provides for alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. And I think there are so many ways of dealing with the situations. So for that reason, I believe the President and Honorable Raila are looking at those options first. They are trying to reason together with the MCAs that if there is an opportunity to resolve these issues without getting it to escalate to the levels of impeachment, that the account is not destabilized, then so be it. But if it does not work, then the MCAs have their oversight role to play around with it. Because when you look at Nairobi, unlike so many other counties, we have fairly well-educated MCAs. Of course, we have that problem of illiteracy amongst MCAs, as was demonstrated during the Kericho impeachment. But for Nairobi, we've seen people who have even participated in the enactment of the new constitution, the 2010. I can ally here were part of the movement that brought in the new constitution. So they are some of the best placed people to help in the implementation. Therefore, I strongly believe that the governor has a second chance. And I've seen the MPs have expressed that he has a second chance and he needs to work on those issues.
Right.
For if you look at the laws that we have, apart from alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, we have many ways of dealing with the improprieties or abuse of office or failing in leadership as per Article 181 of the Constitution or as per Section 33 of the County Governments Act.
Okay.
And therefore, if all those fail, then eventually the MCAs will have washed their hands, and if they go on with the process, then no one.
Well, they've already been threatened. I don't know if MCAs right now have the mettle to go back and put their ODM party tickets for 2027 at risk. Before I give you a final word on this, let's take a short break. You're watching Morning Cafe. We'll be right back.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upward, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
All right, we want to conclude on this Sakaja impeachment matter, and I'll give the final word to Dr. Peter Mbai on this. Just to contribute as a final word. Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. One, Fwamba, you spoke about alternative dispute resolution. There's nothing like alternative dispute resolution when people have already done signatures. That already is an intention to impeach. This, when they are simmering, is when you say alternative dispute resolution and all that. The point here is, it is so sad that the members of the County Assembly of Nairobi, on their own, out of the 2-3 years now, found it fit, because the governor has no capacity to continue running, to simply impeach. But their powers and their rights were curtailed by the two party leaders. That is very wrong. What should have happened, the petition should have gone to the Senate and then gone all the way. Let me tell you the problems that are having the county assemblies. One, some members of the county assembly are so muzzled by governors. Routine is going on. Now I'm talking generally about 47 counties. Routine is going on. You know, a lot of mismanagement of finances. Oversight is zero. But they are muzzled at that local level. They are threatened and given some 5,000, 10,000 trips, and they are muzzled. There are some deals there. Now, the second category is Nairobi, where you feel you owe people a responsibility. You come out and sing songs and do signatures. Then you are called by the party leaders and you are hushed down. That's number two. Now, to the detriment of the voters and the taxpayers of Nairobi, remember? Now, and remember all of us, because much as I come from Nakuru, I mean, we operate here, so we know whether it is working or not. But number three category is where the motion goes to the Senate. Then the senators, I don't want to cast aspersions. Things happen that MCAs feel their rights were not granted. And so corruption continues in the counties. That is a summary categories of what is going on. But I want to tell you this. Fred, grown-ups don't change. Personality, grown-ups don't change their personalities. 5 hours ago, Ali tweeted, put in his Facebook and said he will not change in his Facebook tweet here. He said it about 7 hours ago now. I think he woke up at night and it bothered his heart. So he wrote something in the middle of the night. And he said, this guy, he wrote in Luo. Actually, I wanted to ask him to interpret for us what he meant, because he wrote in Luo. And then, I think he discovered after writing Luo that he needed to interpret. Then he interpreted. Then he said, Jopolo Ogwe Malit Ahinya. Then he said, Ngani is too arrogant and apologetic to remain as governor. So, Ali knows this guy will not change. Why are we wasting Kenya's time? Why are we, please, Honorable Raila Odinga, President Ruto, why are you allowing, people to continue suffering with garbage and routine and corruption and all that to a guy who will never change? It is sad. Let's not go that direction, Fred. If somebody is, and I want to pass this message, as a governor, if you cannot balance management and governance and being able to gel politically, because governor is a political position, if you are not able, just get out. These are the people giving governance and devolution a bad name. Right. So I can tell you this from where is it? It is so sad. I want to appeal to the Honorable Raila Odinga. I want to appeal to the President. Please stop that. Let Ali and his team do what they want to do for the people of Nairobi. Don't fear who will come. Let people decide, what you want is a good governor.
All right.
Because this is not for opposition or government. Nairobi is so important.
And Ali, I know you may want to comment on that, and I'll give you an opportunity, even as we move on from just looking at the impeachment or the botched or the now withdrawn, we're not really sure.
It's not withdrawn, it's suspended.
Suspended impeachment attempt against the governor of Nairobi. Counties are still on the front pages today. And this is a dispute between county operations, the county governments and the national government on this issue of electronic procurement system. So they say county operations stall over tenders fight with states. Officials say the electronic procurement system hitches have blocked purchase of essential supplies, with crucial services grinding to a halt. Now, I want us to approach this conversation this way. No one is against technology and the adoption of technology. I'm saying,
why do you say no?
We are generally as Kenyans, we are not against the adoption of technology.
Some are.
But there are issues that the COG is raising, that this appears rushed. Our systems are not yet ready. In fact, we have so many of our suppliers unable even to log into the system. That is the one complaint, yes. But then we hear the tone that the national government is applying towards the county governments. The president saying we're not going back on this. The CS for Treasury saying muspende, this will happen. And I'm looking at Article 190 on the relationship between governments. And there's nowhere where the national government has been given an oversight role over the county government.
I don't think that the national government is taking up the oversight role on the county government. That, the county governors need to realize that we are existing under one framework, under one platform, one family called Kenya. This Kenya has one president called President William Ruto. It has 22 cabinet secretaries. The Ministry of Health develops policies and coordinates it from the national to the lowest level. So the governors must not think that they exist in isolation. And they need to understand that, the policies developed at the national level, if you have agreed, this is the challenge also with the revenue system, that this system which is going to be implemented, and the president has a very nice idea, which is going to cure something called the pending bills. Because this e-procurement system is going to lock, if you allocated 200 million for education, it is going to lock it. Because what the governors are doing now is you file for approval for payment of education, then they take it and pay for garbage collection. So if you allocated this 200 million for education, you are not going to twist it You are going to lock it, and that person, the moment he raises the first signatures, COB releases, the county government approves, we have raised the first certificate, COB releases the first tranche of payment. It goes like that until that project is fully paid for. In a queue, something called the pay, and you know Nairobi suffers the most. Out of, I think, 130 billion, which is owed by the counties, Nairobi has 110 billion of the pending bills. So I think that they have to implement this system because the procurement, the plucking of pages, the removal, you know, the manual procurement system, which is being manipulated by the governors. I don't know which system the governors have because I know, I've worked in the major counties when I was, and we shared a lot of experience, including the troubled Isiolo County. We sat with the park committee of Isiolo and we found a lot of conflict because unapata mtu anaserve budget and he's serving also in park. This is a huge conflict. But when we talked on the systems, the most complicated, complex system most of these counties have is an Excel sheet. I don't know what system they have which they are saying is not ready. So I think that
are there mechanisms between which can be used so that the national government or policies at the national level and the understanding level at the counties is at par? Because what the COG is complaining about is that this is a rushed, they're receiving decrees by CSO Treasury.
We are under one president. If president, you know, and listen.
The understanding is that there are 48 governments.
No.
One central government, 47 devolved governments.
We have one government of Kenya. All these 47, if you are to draw an organogram, these 47 governments need to understand that they are under the leadership of one president called President William Ruto. Mm-hmm. They are not co-presidents.
Maybe the wording.
And they need to understand by be patient and
Allah is the one using the word wording. You are talking about the president so many times. It's not about the president. It's about the system.
But the governors are saying that there are 48 governments, which is not the truth. So what you need to understand, this is the challenge you also have the revenue system. Because what is happening with the revenue system, everybody is trying to develop their revenue system. You see, there's a time, I think the Ministry of Finance developed a platform. They say that instead of the counties spending so much to develop systems, sometimes through private contractors, they are going to say, the systems took 300 million to develop, it's eating a lot of money. We have developed one system. Why don't you guys agree to implement it and collect your own revenue without spending so much on it? They said they don't need that. And these systems which are being developed, some of them the servers are hosted in the private bedrooms of governors. What happens is this, under the national law, we have, if you go to the Central Bank of Kenya website, there are 12 requirements for a revenue system. It has to meet those, the National Payment Systems Act. It has to meet the threshold that it has to abide by those 12 principles. If it doesn't, you're not going to say that, unajua, as we are separate from the national government.
Article 6 of the Constitution, Devolution, says, Part 2, the governments at the national and county levels are distinct. And it calls both of them the governments. This is a constitution. The governments are distinct and interdependent, yes, and shall conduct their mutual relations on the basis of consultation and cooperation. My question is, the kind of tone we're hearing from the national level government towards the county level government, and that's the question, is that how they should relate? And that's why I said, the nation is not worried or concerned about adoption of technology, but it's the nature of approach by the national government. Bwana Sosion.
It cannot be. There are certain things that needs to be done really not very much without consultation. When government and the Ministry of Finance shifts to e-procurement and it affects the entire government, one segment of government cannot procrastinate, but rather should comply. Those are matters of clear policy position. And when you see this resistance, and the excuse is certain critical services are not granted, e-procurement would even ensure efficient delivery of services because it is fast by any standards, it's technology. But the tragedy is those who are corrupt, the cartels and those poor managers will not have their field day. It is rigid, transparent, you can do firemen, and you cannot load on your favorite suppliers and the rest. So I think generally the e-procurement is the best thing for this.
And we're in agreement with that.
And it should not be postponed even an inch.
It's a question about the relationships between the two levels of government.
It is.
Is it right for the national government to appear to be loading over
e-procurement and the enforcement of the e-procurement is not an item that requires consultation between the county and national government. It is an item that requires compliance.
The Constitution says here that their relations, their mutual relations should be on the basis of consultation and cooperation.
E-procurement is not an item of devolution. It is an item of policies within the National Treasury. It's just that. And so trying to qualify it as an item that the counties and national must sit to consult, I think is losing the point. It is misinterpreting the Constitution and interpreting it upside down. The e-procurement should be implemented without exceptions. And we have seen many institutions that have complied with e-procurement. Why is it that others are complying and others are going slow? And this takes me also to corruption fights back, Fred. Mm-hmm. And those frustrating the implementation of e-procurement are those who are benefiting within the distribution chain. You've heard what Allah is talking about, that you allocate 200 billion for education, but then when it gets to the counties, part of it, environment is done, is used in garbage, and you make funny transactions, and that is where money is lost. And that is how we've lost many things, not only in devolution, but across. That's how we lose resources across the distribution chain and the flow chain of expenditure within the state departments and ministries. So I think one way of sealing loopholes of corruption and protecting public resources is fully moving to e-procurement. There is no emergency that is going to cause stoppage of procurement services. The faster you comply, the better.
Any such national level policies should be subject to legislation. This EGP system has been to the Houses of Parliament, and MPs rejected that circular mandating the use of the EGP system for all public institutions. I'm sure the process is still going on. At this level, is it right for the President or the CS Treasury to demand anything as far as this is concerned? Well, it's still being debated even at the National Assembly.
I think there's that aspect of consultation that was mentioned somewhere, that we mentioned it in Article 6. But over-consultation sometimes may hinder service delivery and may delay decision-making that are progressive and supportive to the well-being of the nation. So for me, I believe at some point, you have to make things happen. And I think that's what the President has been doing on most policy issues. That's why we are moving as a country. If he continued to procrastinate on issues, then we'll end up with 5 years and nothing is happening.
Doesn't it leave it up to legal challenges then? If at all he fails to consult and it's provided for in the Constitution?
Not really. There are processes that can go concurrently. Then there are policy issues that can be pronounced in the best interest of the country. For e-procurement, you are looking at the aspect of corruption. And those ones who love corruption or who have been stealing public resources may not want reforms to happen. And that's why they may hide in procrastination in the name of consultations so that they delay the implementation of some of these policies. E-procurement ensures that you'll be able to track every process from one point to the other. We have seen situations whereby in government, you'll do tender documents and then you'll hear someone saying that, hey, you do not have your tax compliance certificate just because they have plucked out the paper, and that cannot be traced. But if you have an e-procurement system, you'll be able to protect people against such kind of malpractices.
Okay. Yeah. Yet the 3 counties that were used as pilot counties are still complaining. For example, Makueni, the governor of Makueni says that even after being used as a pilot county for the EGP system, he's still struggling with the same system. Isn't the COG right, therefore, in demanding that, okay, fine, even if you're implementing this, can we spend more time? Hence, the need for more consultation.
Fred, I'll tell you 2 or 3 things quickly. I was part of the executive in the county government. I know 1 or 2 things about what happens there. I've been part of the legislation in the county assembly, I've been in the national government. I understand the distinction between what you are saying, two governments, right? Now, policies are made by national governments. Actually, I was a member of the budget committee in the county assembly, and we are arguing that these financial processes should be, because money is coming from the national government, then national government should be concerned about how money is flowing. You cannot say, I'm giving you money, but I have no control of the money. So I am for actually what will tame all these things is systems. And I keep on talking about systems and structures and processes. So for me, the issue of the policy, the national government proposing a policy. Now the question is what you're asking. It's not the county government that should be telling us it failed. It is a multi-team that should go and monitor how the pilot went, that we should be receiving the report from. Why? And I have to say this today, and I will not say something without a solution. Fred, the amount of loot, wastage, inefficiency, mismanagement in the counties is alarming. We have people who have no capacity at all. They have no heart to help. God gave them a chance to be governors. You know, the whole essence of devolution was you be a governor to make decisions without referring back to the national government, okay, on who to help, where, and how. But many people, first of all, they have no heart, they have no calling, and then they have no capacity to govern. Because politics is different from leadership and governance. So governors are supposed to govern. Now, because they don't know, and they have no idea, they have this group of people they want to please, some 50, 100 contractors, right? Who have to be all over. Most of these people don't even come from the county. Those are people who sponsored the campaigns there in Nairobi. And they are the guys who benefit from all these tenders. So we are saying that this system should work. Or what I'm saying, governors should not go meet somewhere and begin crying oof. They should be able to know that, but the only thing I'm hoping, and this is what the Kenyan are saying, Fred, we have seen so many systems, right? SHA system, you know, this system. Then in the middle of that system, there's a guy in Dubai who is sipping cold beer and some soda, and he's taking all the money. So what we are saying also, the fear is this, because all the many systems that you have been introduced to have not worked. At the end of the day, Auditor General comes and says 2.5% is being taken by someone. So the fear therefore is this e-procurement foolproof? That's now where the other fear is. So the question actually I've been trying to find out from my networks, whether there's some private supplier of the system who will take 2.5% of some money. I've been trying to search, I'm trying to look around, because that's also the fear. But Fred, I can tell you this as I finish. If indeed there was a very honest intention to put a system with the sole purpose of making sure that we streamline procurement and financial services to the counties and the national government, then a system is the way to go. Now, don't worry about the pushback by the county governments, because they don't know what to do with the money that comes. I'll give you an example. To date, 3 years, no, not 3, 15 years later, Fred, can you tell me how many counties have a working revenue collection system? They never allow them to work. And if they work, they make sure they're interfered with. And there's some percentage of money that goes to the governors. So what we are saying is, if 15 years you're not able to put a system to collect money, then it means you are part of that team that continues to make sure that the money is lost in the counties. Many people, still today in the counties, they pay cash for ticketing of vehicles. Sand and this money that is collected, doesn't reach their bank account. So for me, I am for system any day. But it must be foolproof. Let us first confirm that this system, Fred, is not a conduit also for some people.
What about the relationship between the governments and the kind of language the president and the CS for Treasury are using on the county administration? Should that be the way to go?
That's a very good question. Fred, I believe in dialogue myself. I believe in negotiations. I believe in engagement. I believe in stakeholders' engagement. I believe that by the time you said 1st of July, maybe 6 months earlier, right? 4 months. A lot of engagement, which should have been public, so that the public can move with you. Don't say you wrote circulars. The engagement should have been public. That remember, 4 months to come, we are going to switch to to this system. That one is good to be very fair. So we don't know the details of how much body engage the governors and all these other, State Department, MDAs, ministers and departments of government. So it ought to have been public so that body should not be speaking alone, or the president should not be coming to the written governors. It should have been a process to say, hey guys, 4 months, I see now it's time they are being trained. It's already September. If now is when you are training people. First quarter is gone. Okay, procurement plan should have been done by now. Yeah, July, August, September, procurement plan should be uploaded so that what you call procurement starts in the second quarter. So my question is again, that should have been done before in engagement. And if there's going to be a pushback, CS should have made it public so the public would go with him. If I don't know why this system alone will escape the theft, thievery, looting also in the national government. That is our fear. We don't know. We are lost. So we are hoping, we are there hanging around. We don't know who is right, who is wrong, and we don't know. But we have a problem with the counties, a big problem with the counties about this issue of financial management, procurement, and all that.
When I lie anything to add to that?
Yes. No, I think that what we need to understand is that the e-procurement has to, the good thing is that this is one of the things which I've been promoting, that it has to go digital. If it doesn't go digital, you will never cure the problem of entrepreneurs. And you go to City Hall, you find so many of them there. The systems have to work. And that's been one of the biggest defense of...
We're getting to the end of Q1. Most suppliers are not even able to log into the system.
Yes, even for us, like now we are supposed to... So the world development projects, they were supposed to be, advertised. They cannot be advertised until the budget is uploaded. It cannot be uploaded because the people at the procurement are saying that they have not been mapped into the system. So I think that is going to be finished in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And when it's done, it's going to go full throttle. We hope that, especially Nairobi, especially the city counties, have to lead in the implementation of the system. If they don't do it, and I think that sometimes people judge the president so harshly, I think that the government has thought of a very good system. This is a system which I have full confidence in because it is not this government which brought it. It was suggested by other government. It was previously procured, the implementation, because the framework, the module which has been introduced here is that now the COB can see whatever the governors are asking for approval for. And the COB can log into the system and say that we approve that payment. Yes.
All right. The Constitution does not provide for delays in disbursement of equitable share, but this process has delayed that. Don't you see like that this is an opportunity for many people to go to court just to question what's happening, and that, if it happens, may just cause more delays?
It is possible for people to go to court and litigate, and this is a characteristic nature of Kenyans, and particularly cartels that have been described very clearly by Professor Mbai here, who has worked in that space. And you can imagine somebody sitting...
Dr. Mbai, do you accept that title of professor?
Yeah.
Conferred upon you by...
I don't know why he's conferred. Himself is not a PhD holder. I don't know why he gets powers to confer.
Dubai, soon I will be. Somebody sitting in Dubai and sipping alcohol and getting all the money from Kenya. Money that was meant for devolution is supposed to be spent at the local level. And I look at some historical resistances that we have had in this country. Migration from analog TV to digital, it was resisted by the media owners. Reasons known to them. But now you can see the digital broadcasting, what it is doing. It's good for the country. I saw KWS when it was shifting from manual payments to digital. There was a lot of resistance and condemnation, but now the revenue collection at KWS is indeed one of the highest. It has gone up many times, and therefore the loopholes of losses have been sealed. The e-procurement did not start on 1st of July. There were communications correspondences, and I don't think it will be right even for Parliament to try and stop, or even the courts to try and stop.
You don't think the role legislation plays in such a...
Well, it does. It's well they have their say, they can give the advice, but I think when you see an impulsive decision, a decision made on impulse, but not legitimate reasons of the interest of the country, those are in the interest of cartels, then it's not right.
We can ignore parts of the Constitution. To me, we can ignore the role of Houses of Parliament. We can ignore provisions like the articles.
Fred, the introduction of e-procurement
is
well within the law and within the Constitution.
It may be a good thing, but
and why are we debating?
But
why are we debating against implementation?
Provisions of the
There's no specific defiance of the Constitution. This is an issue we are tackling in terms of change. And change has always been resisted. It's not a new thing. And if you are implementing change, especially from a primitive point to a more advanced point, then there are supposed to be bottlenecks. Whatever we are seeing is not something strange. But you see, based on other aspects of systems, we have seen them working. For example, even when people are raising issues on the challenges that SHA is facing, it is very clear that for the first time, we're able to see where problems are. We never knew anything about NHIF. Everything was in darkness. But at some point, we had there were some people who are seeking payments for about 10 amputations in a day in a very small hospital. But these revelations have come as a result of a system established by SHA. And borrowing from SHA, it is very clear that these new systems will keep on bringing change. I know Dr. Mbai will want to bring some contradictions here, but it's very well known that before we had SHA, there was no clarity. We never knew what was happening in NHIF.
I wish he stuck to.
No. I'm giving an example of something that is working. And it takes courage for a leader to make decisions to move to the next level. And that's what President Ruto has been doing.
I think, Fred, honestly, I wish he stuck with the...
No. I know Mbai wants to contradict the issues around SHA because that's their campaign agenda.
Fred,
that's what they base on to push on their campaign propaganda.
I'm a serious leadership and
government. I know that, Daktari. But I know on this one, you want to advance politics on it.
No.
Because that's what all of you are doing.
Fred, is it
you
fair?
Saw the Mumias thing was about...
Is it fair for Wamba? It's like he's reading my mind. I've not spoken.
I'm predicting you because you people are so predictable.
No.
It is well known. It's in the public domain.
You see, Fred, Wamba has been a very quiet person since we started the show. I don't know why he's getting agitated. I'm just saying, the 104 billion system was meant to prevent fraud. It was meant to prevent fraud. So please, stop it there.
And that's why there's detection of fraud.
Please, let's go through.
Okay.
Previously,
there was no detection.
No, wait, Fred. 700 million, NHF. You give the dog a bad name, saying it is eating eggs in the compound, so you can kill it, so that now you can bring another thing and introduce some people who are sipping the money, staying somewhere, and then fraud comes 10 times. Now, the 30 billion money owed by NHIF is not from Wanjiko in Kagio Market or Molo. These are big boys. But the big boys had to move. They had to kill this one, bring another name, so they can migrate. Listen, that's why we have Ladnan Hospital, and a good example, owned by the chairman of SHA. He's still in office. So what am I saying here?
Please, most of the things these people say
that's why Fred,
are unverifiable.
That's why, Fred,
the appetite, some of the agents
the appetite by which this government is getting into public things, the appetite by which it's getting to housing projects, a lot of private
The allegations are not backed by any evidence. Unfortunately.
Now here we talk one person.
I know you always say that.
On the issue of a citizen, there is fraud. That's why people, one part of the people like us, we are thinking this thing, and then when the president finally came, at least Badi was fighting so hard. Now, when the president came and said this one, now everybody like, where the president is coming talking to say it has to be done, there must be something here. That is a big fear we have. So we are not sure whether we should support this system because we don't know where they lead us.
We are able to detect that fraud because of those systems.
It may end up being another scandal.
Gentlemen, allow me to move on to another discussion. I know we can stay here and talk about systems, but I think we've exhausted the issue and you've all expressed your opinions on what should happen with the e-procurement system. There's a story that we seem to ignore. And this is happening within our borders, but it's a serious security threat. It's captured there on the front page of the Star. Leaders raise alarm as Jubaland forces invade Mandera. And I've seen a tweet by Robert Alai disputing what the governor of Mandera is saying. Yet the governor is there on the ground. Now, we do have a story here on TV47 where Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has dismissed reports that Jubaland forces from Somalia have crossed into Mandera County. He was speaking at the launch of the Jukwaa la Usalama tour. Murkomen said the government is not aware of any foreign troops inside Kenyan borders, but investigations are ongoing. However, local leaders have warned that heavily armed Jubaland forces are present in Mandera town. Why they would claim that without evidence, I have no idea. And that it's causing fear and disruption among residents. This story filed by Samira Mohammed. Let's have it, then discuss that as we come to a close.
I like these days he's talking like he's a
As anger spilled into the streets of Mandera, a section of irate residents protested with placards and posters expressing their wrath against the presence of Jubaland forces in the border town. This, as Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says the government is not aware of any foreign troops operating within Kenyan borders.
I cannot confirm now whether they were forces of where, who they are. It's only until you do proper security analysis and investigations that you get to know, is it forces, is it civilians, and so forth.
And even as Murkomen denies the presence of Jubaland forces in the country, on his side, Mandera Governor Ahmed Khalif has expressed concern over what he claims is the presence of the forces inside Mandera town, saying the situation poses a risk to residents and could undermine Kenya's territorial sovereignty. This, as a section of leaders have slammed the government and security agencies over the invasion by the Jubaland forces, saying that the country's security integrity is under siege following the intrusion by the Jubaland Darwish.
I want to challenge the security agencies, the necessary KDF forces, to ensure that let us not allow the violation of our territorial integrity. And I hope.
Meanwhile, the Parliamentary Defence Committee has summoned the Defence Cabinet Secretary Soipan Toya to shed light on the invasion by the Jubaland forces.
We will await to hear from the Ministry of Defence, as has been requested by this team today, and also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and on its independent investigation by the members of this committee to ascertain the truth of what could be happening in Mandera. Until then, we will be restrained.
Even as the debate continues, the question now remains who will come to the rescue of the people of Mandera who now feel abandoned, having to run away from their homes, some watching helplessly as foreign soldiers seize their farms and houses. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Bonalai, you were responding to Mandera Senator Ali Roba, who's also raised alarm about the presence of Jubaland troops in Mandera town. And you say these senators and governors behave like as if they are loyal to Somalia and not Kenya.
Yes.
Jubaland forces are in Jubaland. You want Kenyans to attack Jubaland and help Egypt and Somalia government. And many people are finding this off, that we are talking about the territory of Kenya, that these people have crossed the border into our territory, and Kenyans are concerned about their own security in their own country. Where does this argument come from?
You know, and I want Mbai to be attentive and not looking like they are sharing. You know the history of Jubaland and Somaliland and in the greater Somali dynamic and how it came to be. And what is happening with Jubaland, you know how they conduct their elections, is that they never have one man, one vote, universal suffrage way of electing their leaders. So what gets to happen is that the president decides on who is going to represent what region and so on. Somalia got to influence that because Somalia believed that Jubaland is part of it. So they got to influence that process. In the end, they got a lot of differences and a start of fighting between the Jubaland forces and Somalia. Some of the troops were pushed to almost close to the border of Kenya. In the age of social media, mainstream media, and produce for me one evidence of a single Jubaland force in the territory of Kenya. Sent to me today. The coordinates.
Should we doubt the governor, the senator, the residents? We've done a story here.
These are politicians.
Including the
word siasa. Hao ni wanasiasa. The word siasa comes from two Swahili words. Si hasa. It's not true. Which school? Produce for me evidence. Which school name of the school.
We have the story there. We've just trained it.
Look at those bangles. They have been written by one person, one handwriting. I'm telling you, this is psychological warfare by the Somalia government on Kenyan. They want Kenyan KDF to move at the border. You know, when you move your troops to the border, it's like declaring a war on a friendly nation. People are conducting. Why are we doubting our government so much?
Because the issue here is,
if today Fred Ndimuli, an experienced journalist, is going to produce for me evidence. You even have choppers in this country. Can we just book for you one chopper? You fly and you show me.
Are we saying elected leaders in unison could be in conspiracy to actually play
this is the first
Somali politics in Kenya?
Yeah, likely. And I agree with Alai here. Let us separate and put an electric fence between politics and national security issues. Because national security issues are handled differently by a completely sophisticated infrastructure that is complete with military intelligence. Because when you're talking about this, the military are not asleep. They know. They monitor the borders. And they know who has walked in and who has not. And the National Intelligence Service and all the services. Even you as media, when you are reporting, can you show us the pictures of the Jubaland forces? We want to see how they look like. But as long as we don't see even a single photograph of any one of them, then all these narratives are stories sajaba. We want the truth. And if indeed Kenya is invaded, it will be known, and it is the responsibility of the Kenyan Defense Forces to deal with that. And the Kenyan Defense Forces have been right inside Somalia. So dealing with the border within around Mandera.
It is not the subject of a parliamentary process where the CS has been summoned.
I would say let that report be verified.
Okay.
The way the St. Mary's Hospital matter was verified yesterday by Honorable Duale, when we saw a bishop saying money had not been paid in a political rally, but yesterday confirmed that some 98 billion has been paid out of 117.
Let's see what Famba has to say about this. What is your take on what's happening?
Kenya, we are very good at telling lies. For me, and the media
when it comes to our own security,
broadcasting lies.
I think national security issues and territorial integrity are very sensitive issues to start with. And I believe that we should not be reckless about it. We should not just be making sweeping statements for political expediency about national issues, national security issues and territorial integrity issues. Therefore, for me, I want to rely on the official word from the executive. If the cabinet secretary has stated that we do not, none of us is in Mandera in the first place. We are not at the border of Kenya and Somalia or Jubaland. So the only reliable information that we can depend on is the position from the executive. And for now, since the government is the one that has the responsibility to protect us and ensure that our borders are well protected, we want to rely on their word.
What reason do you have to doubt the elected leaders from that region?
Because they can do things for political expedience. I've just talked about political expedience and advantage. If you can pronounce words that can help you to get elected in the next election, you can say those things for as long as they sound populist. So we cannot rely on an issue concerning national security or territorial integrity from a politician who is seeking an elective position in the coming election.
All right. Yes. Dr. Mbai.
This is what I think, Fred. I like the confidence that Alai often talks without authority, like he's a spokesman of State House. on many issues, like he's an expert on everything, you know. And so, you know, and the way he's, even you are shocked, like the media has been there. We have been talking, elected leaders have been saying that there are Jumba people and, of course, Somalis in Mandela. I want to quickly remind Kenyans, 2-3 months ago, the governor for Tana River, in the Jukua, in this Kikau stuff, some Kikau things that are being done by the CS, the governor stood, this is a retired army guy, the governor for Tana River.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's a retired army, so he's a disciplined, he's a disciplined guy, he cannot just talk. And he said when CS was seated there, that there are Somalis who have come from Somalia. They have been given allocation by this government we voted for, this government, allocation, literally, gazetted. These Somalis, a chief has been appointed from Somali. this is story that is online. When the CS spoke, he said, when ndio maana tunakushikaga. That's why we normally arrest you. You're talking carelessly here. And when he spoke, people clapped. And the governor said, you can hear? That is hii mambo ingine mnakuja kutuletea hapa kuongea kwa hii kikao is not important. People want you to address the issue of Somalis who have come, given a location in Kenya and achieve. So now, second governor is saying the same thing. There are people who have come, and I can tell you, Fred, these issues of people coming is the whole story of they get IDs. Then the story of Lai's Baba, you know, it's not my Baba, it's his Baba, saying that now we vote with IDs. Okay?
Speculative.
There's a whole story. Refugees, 800,000, they be given, you know, they be made Kenya, so they are given IDs
speculative.
towards issues of rigging of elections. The
That's
whole
speculative.
idea, Fred, is so when you see some things like that happen, the second thing that could happen, because of fear of elections, you want to cause some stuff like now those forces coming here.
You feel all this has a lot to do with our election?
We have our own, we know what we know. And we are here to tell you, either that line of getting these people come here, cause some things, in the midst of that people register with the IDs and then they get
tragedy of associating with the Gachagua.
The second thing, the second issue is that cause some, you know, the constituency that there cannot be an election during war. Cause some people then some war. We are saying, how do you describe Fred? A minister was asked yesterday, then he began dodging, saying, you know, I'm in Busia, but since you have asked me, let me answer. Then he dodged, saying, we don't know who they are. You are in charge. You consume raw intelligence, but you don't know what that raw intelligence says about people, foreigners, who are in your country, displacing children in schools. What are we saying? Are we in a country?
Dr. Mbai is a very good politician, and he knows how to...
I'm an expert on leadership.
No, but you are also a very good politician, and you have associated with the Gachagua, so you are advancing lying and constructing propaganda.
When you talk over each other, no one can hear you.
You're doing very well.
No one can hear you now. When you talk over each other, no one can hear you. And I've seen, and from my assessment, I don't think this panel is capable or expert enough to discuss that matter. So allow me to give you each a minute and a half for your final comments, starting with you, Bunalai, about everything that we've discussed, not just the issue of Mandera.
Thank you so much. On the issue of the digital or the e-government procurement system, I think that we need to realize that we have Vision 2030, we have the national payment, the national ICT policy, we have the digital master plan. We need to look at those documents. The three documents are going to decide on what we do as a government. So we need to take them seriously. On the issue of the security, you know, I sympathize with any Kenyan who is going through the phase of insecurity. But I don't think that is right to accuse without facts and figures and evidence which can be verified. I don't find the accusation that there are forces in Kenya verifiable. So I don't think that we need to ride with that. We need to ask for accountability, not only from government, but also the elected leaders who are making these accusations. The governor said last week, and now the senator is saying it. There are people who look to be hired. You know, Bangos, one single handwriting has written all the Bangos to be paraded in front of the media. I think we need to ask hard questions, because we are playing with the national security, and it's a very dangerous thing. Right. So with those, I think that you know, we can move on, but through evidence-based accusations.
Thank you so much, Bunalai. Your minute and a half.
Yeah, the county assemblies have the greatest responsibility of playing oversight on behalf of the people. And I personally urge them to strengthen that frontier. They must have that capacity and do it within the law. And so that then by the time it gets to impeachment, it is a matter that cannot be dropped on technicality, but it is a matter that the Senate can adjudicate the actual cases and save our counties from endemic and extensive cancer of corruption. And e-procurement is not a choice. Really, as a country, let us all agree. And I still say, let us have a Damascus moment in fighting corruption in this country. And one way of fighting corruption is fully embracing the e-system. Let all government institutions and really fully shift to e-procurement system. And national security, you know, Fred, let us not politicize.
Okay. Let us not politicize.
Our national security infrastructure capacity is one of the best in the world.
Let us not even on this panel politicize that issue.
So the politicians should not take over and try to masquerade to have information and run national security matters. Let's leave it to the national security agencies and the commander-in-chief of the defense forces in case of invasion of the country.
I would like to talk about devolution in particular, not necessarily about Nairobi as a county, but in terms of the relationship between the MCAs and the governors. The MCAs should be encouraged to go on with their work of oversight, but also remember that they must represent wananchi effectively, as opposed to situations whereby, like we saw in the Kericho impeachment, whereby we can easily see that the MCAs, some of them, push on that oversight aspect through making corrupt demands. For example, they want to be part of the theft. When they are denied the opportunity to be part of the theft is when they raise their voices. So we want people to be encouraged to play their roles effectively without necessarily being compromised. Now, on the issue of e-procurement, I think, as we agreed on the whole of this panel, is that we are advancing as a country and we must embrace systems. We must embrace information systems because we are a modern democracy that is progressing. We cannot continue living in the primitive Stone Age kind of doing things. On national security, we have agreed that let us not talk about things that are not backed by evidence. It must be backed by evidence, and we must not do things for political expediency, because national security and territorial integrity are very sensitive issues that must be dealt with. And that we have received information from the executive, and for me, that's the official position that we must live with.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bwana Fwamba. Finally.
Thank you so much for one minute. I would like to say, I saw recently the president say that he's really pleading that we can make Kenya great, we can make it like Singapore and Malaysia and all that. Fred, we have already 3 years done. You cannot talk like you are campaigning, telling us how you can make a Singapore. 3 years later, I want to say this today. I know what I'm saying. Everything that needed to take Kenya to the next level, by the second year, we had prepared and placed it in the desk of the president. He knows what he ought to have done. He did do it, and this bus is in the bush. There's no turning back. There's no hope with this government. No delivery, no nothing. Anything you see happening is just, like reactionary. I can tell you, he knew. He knows. All the issues about youth empowerment, about industrialization, what we needed to have done about the young people, everything was right on his desk. He knows what he ought to have done. And we warned, Kenya had only 2 years for patience before Kenyans become impatient. So please, don't begin telling us now how Kenya can be. You had the chance, you had the people, but you decided to go politics, go in impeaching people. And that's where we are here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP. Fwamba NC Fwamba, Governance Analyst. Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who has served as SG of KNUT and even as a member of the National Assembly. And Robert Alai, the MCA Kileleshwa Ward, who has been in the headlines this week pushing for that suspended impeachment. Let me use the correct word. There's one more headline we didn't get to talk about, especially for MCAs, and I know you've been very vocal about allowances, but yes, MCAs have lost a court battle for more hefty allowances. Pole Bwana Alai.
We didn't want that.
But the main headlines today, and what we've been talking about, selfish union, 1 year later, the broad-based arrangement, that's a standard for you. The Daily Nation goes with something else, matters education, 123,000 learners are missing who are intended to be in grade 9. Puzzle of 123,000 missing grade 9 students. That's the Daily Nation. But the Daily Nation carries that story about the counties. County operations stall over tenders fight with state. And that story on Jubaland. Leaders raise alarm as Jubaland forces invade Mandera. Of course, the biggest discussion has been, according to the cartoons, that suspended impeachment of Governor Sakaja. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time at TV47 this morning. A lot more coming up after the break. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Good morning.